Microplastics are super tiny pieces of plastic. They are everywhere. These minuscule particles, often less than 5 millimeters in size, are pervasive in our environment. They are so small that they can easily be overlooked, but their impact is anything but negligible. We find them in our oceans, our food, and even our drinking water. From the deepest parts of the ocean to the highest mountain peaks, microplastics have infiltrated every corner of our planet. They have been discovered in the fish we eat, the water we drink, and even in the air we breathe. These tiny plastic bits come from larger plastic trash that breaks down over time. When plastic waste is exposed to sunlight, wind, and water, it gradually fragments into smaller and smaller pieces. This process, known as photodegradation, can take hundreds of years, during which the plastic continues to break down into microplastics. Plastic bottles, bags, and packaging all contribute to the problem. Every piece of plastic waste that ends up in the environment has the potential to become microplastics. Single-use plastics, in particular, are a major source of microplastic pollution. These items are used briefly and then discarded, but their environmental impact lasts for centuries. Microplastics can also come from our clothes. Synthetic fabrics like polyester, nylon, and acrylic are made from plastic fibers. When we wear and wash these clothes, tiny fibers are released into the environment. When we wash synthetic fabrics like polyester, tiny plastic fibers wash down the drain. These microfibers are so small that they pass through water treatment plants and end up in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Each wash can release thousands of microfibers, contributing to the growing problem of microplastic pollution. These fibers are too small to be filtered out and end up polluting our waterways. Once in the water, they can be ingested by aquatic organisms, entering the food chain and eventually making their way back to us. The presence of microplastics in our water systems poses a significant threat to both environmental and human health. Even car tires leave behind microplastics as they wear down on the road. Tire wear particles are a significant source of microplastic pollution. As tires degrade, they shed tiny particles that are carried by wind and rain into our waterways and soil. These tiny plastic particles can travel through the air and water, making their way into our environment and our bodies. Microplastics have been found in remote areas far from any human activity, demonstrating their ability to travel long distances. They can be inhaled or ingested, posing potential health risks. We need to understand where microplastics come from so we can tackle this growing problem. By identifying the primary sources of microplastic pollution, we can develop strategies to reduce their release into the environment. This includes improving waste management practices, reducing the use of single-use plastics, and developing new materials that are less harmful to the environment. Together, we can work towards a future with less plastic pollution. Chewing gum is a popular treat enjoyed by people all over the world. But here's a sticky situation. Scientists have discovered that many chewing gums contain microplastics. This is concerning because these tiny plastic particles can be released into our mouths and potentially swallowed. Researchers tested different brands of chewing gum and found that many of them contained polymers commonly used in plastics. These polymers can break down into microplastics, posing potential risks to human health. This discovery raises concerns about the safety of chewing gum and the potential long-term effects of ingesting microplastics. We need to investigate further to understand the full extent of this issue. Every time we chew gum, those tiny plastic particles can be released into our saliva. It's a process that happens without us even realizing it. The act of chewing, which seems so harmless and routine, can actually be a gateway for microplastics to enter our bodies. Think of it like this. As we chew, the gum breaks down and releases its flavors. This is something we all enjoy, the burst of mint or fruit that freshens our breath. But there's a hidden side to this process. The mechanical action of chewing causes the gum to break down into smaller pieces. But it's not just flavor that's being released, it's also those hidden microplastics. These tiny particles, often invisible to the naked eye, are mixed in with the gum's ingredients. As the gum disintegrates, these microplastics are freed and can be ingested. These microplastics can then be swallowed and enter our digestive system. Once inside, they can travel through our digestive tract, potentially causing unknown effects. The human body is not designed to process plastic, and the long-term health implications are still being studied. While more research is needed to fully understand the health effects, it's concerning to think that we could be unintentionally ingesting plastic every time we chew gum. Scientists are actively investigating how these microplastics interact with our bodies and what potential risks they pose. This discovery highlights the importance of being aware of the ingredients in our food and everyday products. Many of us don't think twice about the composition of the gum we chew, but it's crucial to be informed. Reading labels and understanding what goes into our food can help us make better choices. We need to make informed choices to protect our health and the environment. By opting for products with fewer synthetic ingredients and being mindful of our consumption habits, we can reduce our exposure to microplastics. It's a small step, but one that can have significant benefits for our well-being and the planet. Scientists wanted to see how widespread this problem is. They tested many different types of gum. They looked at popular brands and different flavors. The scientists found something interesting. Most of the gums they tested contained those tiny plastic particles. This means it's not just one type of gum that's a problem. It's something we need to be aware of with all chewing gum. This discovery is important because it shows that microplastics in gum are a widespread issue. We need to learn more about the potential risks and find ways to reduce our exposure. Section 5. The microplastic menu. A recipe for health risks? Scientists are still studying the effects of microplastics on our bodies. They are concerned about what happens when we swallow these tiny pieces of plastic. Some studies suggest that microplastics can accumulate in our organs. This might cause inflammation and other health problems. Microplastics can also carry harmful chemicals. These chemicals can leach out into our bodies and potentially disrupt our hormones. More research is needed to fully understand the long-term consequences. While more research is needed, the potential risks posed by microplastic ingestion are concerning. We need to prioritize our health and consider the products we consume. Section 6. Industry weighs in. No need to panic yet. The companies that make chewing gum say there's no need to worry. They argue that the levels of microplastics in their products are very low. They claim that these levels are safe for human consumption. However, some scientists disagree. They point out that even small amounts of microplastics could be harmful over time. They argue that more research is needed to determine safe levels of exposure. This back and forth highlights the importance of independent research and transparency. Consumers deserve to have all the information to make informed decisions about their health. Section 7. Chewing with caution. Tips for microplastic reduction. Chewing gum is a common habit for many, but did you know it can be a source of microplastic exposure? Let's explore some practical tips to minimize this risk. While we wait for more research, there are things we can do to reduce our exposure to microplastics from chewing gum. The first step is to be mindful of the gum we choose. Not all gums are created equal, and some may contain more microplastics than others. One easy step is to choose sugar-free gum. Sugar-free options are generally better because they are less likely to stick to our teeth and release microplastics. This simple switch can make a significant difference in reducing our microplastic intake. Sugar-free gum is less likely to stick to our teeth and release microplastics. This is not only better for our dental health but also helps in minimizing the amount of microplastics we might ingest. Consult your dentist for recommendations on the best sugar-free gum options. Another tip is to chew gum for shorter periods. The longer we chew, the more microplastics are released. By limiting our chewing time, we can significantly reduce our exposure. The longer we chew, the more microplastics are released. Setting a timer or being mindful of the time can help us remember to spit out the gum sooner rather than later. This small habit change can have a big impact. So try to limit your chewing time and spit out your gum properly when you're finished. Proper disposal is crucial. Always wrap your gum in paper before discarding it in a trash bin to prevent it from breaking down into microplastics in the environment. We can also support companies that are working to reduce microplastics in their products. Many brands are now focusing on sustainability and are making efforts to create gum that is less harmful to the environment. By choosing brands that prioritize sustainability, we can encourage positive change in the industry. Look for gum brands that use natural ingredients and biodegradable materials. Supporting these companies not only helps reduce microplastic pollution, but also promotes a healthier planet for future generations. Section 8. Natural doesn't always mean safe microplastics lurking in disguise. You might think that choosing natural chewing gum would be a safer option, but here's the thing. Even some natural gums contain microplastics. That's because some natural gums use synthetic materials in their production process. These synthetic materials can break down into microplastics, just like conventional plastics. So even if you're trying to make healthy choices, you could still be ingesting microplastics without realizing it. It's important to read labels carefully and choose brands that are transparent about their ingredients. Look for gums that are certified microplastic-free or made with truly natural and sustainable materials. Section 9. Chew on this. A summary and call for awareness. Microplastics are everywhere, and chewing gum is just one surprising source of these tiny plastic particles. While more research is needed to fully understand the health risks, it's wise to be mindful of our chewing gum consumption. Choose sugar-free options, limit your chewing time, and support companies that are committed to reducing microplastics in their products. By making informed choices, we can protect our health and the environment. Let's chew on this information and spread the word. Together,